Christmas, happy holidays. Do we have to send NSYNC royalties for that? Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your families. Thank you for joining us. That is Logan dancing away. He is in his element right now. Logan Lee is in his element right now. December 19th, the evening of Monday, December 19th. Christmas 6 days away. Logan, when do you start counting down? When do you start? We have a countdown little thing. We flip the block every day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go past 25. So when do you start counting down?
I mean, I'm kind of always counting down, but I think for a while on the show last year, I was counting down like every episode, but I kind of forgot to do that. Originally, you can see behind me, there's a blackboard that I was going to write the countdown to Christmas on, but I never got chalk to do it. So I hate chalk. It just hasn't really.
I hate chalkboards.
I'm always counting down to Christmas.
That's
it's
fair.
Literally my favorite time of the year,
That's
and
fair.
I will be super sad on December 26th when it's over.
I was just thinking earlier, Christmas season just isn't long enough.
No, which is why I start November 1st.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of crap
feel ya.
for it. I take a lot of crap for it from you at times as well. You have been known to throw some crap my way. My father has been known to throw some crap my way, but that's why I do it. That's why my lights go up mid-October. My lights go on November 1st. Our house gets decorated first couple weeks in November. I want to at least give myself 2 months of it because it is when I'm legitimately the happiest. So why not try to make that period of time much longer? So I'm with you, man. It's not long enough. It never is.
I was jamming out to my Christmas playlist and I was like, I need more of this in my life. But thank you for joining us.
There's nothing wrong with sometime 90-degree temperatures, mid-July, you're having to mow your yard, you got your headphones on. I'll sometimes occasionally throw on a Christmas playlist. I'm not going to say that I'm listening to Christmas music year round, but from time to time, it's nice to just kind of mix it in, every once in a while, just kind of throw the music on just to kind of get you through a hot summer day. There's nothing wrong with it if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, we got rid of our question of the week or what do you think segment. Logan wants to bring it back. So what's your favorite Christmas movie? I have a t-shirt on here that my mom got for me a couple years ago. It's got the Friends typeface and it's got
I love
Ralphie.
that shirt.
That's a great one. It's got Ralphie, Kevin
Kevin
McAllister, Elf, Clark Griswold, and the Grinch. What's your favorite of these 5 or just in general? If it's not on here, what's your favorite Christmas movie? I think I know yours, but go ahead.
Drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments, yes. While you're there, like and subscribe. But what's yours?
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Okay. Mine is not pictured, but
yours is not pictured. Is yours the Santa Claus?
it is.
Okay.
It
That's a very close second to me. The Elf and the Santa Claus are the two Christmas movies that I've seen the most.
Yeah.
I can legitimately say that Elf is probably in the top 5 movies that I have watched the most in general. Not even like Christmas aside. It is right up there in that discussion. My answer is Elf, but I love the Santa Claus. I love all the movies represented.
What would you rank these? What would you rank these?
Elf 1.
Elf 1.
Christmas Vacation 2.
And this is Jim Carrey Grinch, not animated Grinch.
Right, yeah. I'll go Home Alone 3, but it's really close.
Yeah.
Grinch 4 and Christmas Story 5. Christmas Story is not my favorite. We watched it last night. I finally watched the new one last night as well, which was actually better than I thought it might be.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not a huge fan of A Christmas Story. But it's not really a hot take, but this is like my Christmas time take. The performance that Jim Carrey gives in that movie is one of the single greatest acting performances in a film ever. And it's a shame that it wasn't recognized by any sort of voting body. I believe they got like best makeup or something for that movie, which it deserved. But
he spent like 8 hours in the makeup chair.
Phenomenal in that movie. And since we're talking about acting performances in Christmas movies, Macaulay Culkin gives one of the greatest child acting performances in Home Alone. So
And two.
Christmas movies you can say what you want about them. You can put them down if you want. You can even say Home Alone's not a Christmas movie. Whatever your argument is, I'm not here for it. Those are some
Wait,
fantastic performances.
Why would Home Alone not be a Christmas movie?
There are people that don't think Home Alone is a Christmas movie, and I haven't totally wrapped my head around the concept. But Home Alone takes place at Christmas, but that's really about it. There's no Santa. There's no Christmas meaning. There's no Christmas message. I guess there is a mall Santa or something that shows up at some point. I don't know. I'm not in that camp.
Message is don't leave your kids at home.
I don't think that camp is a large camp, but I have heard that argument from people that,
bad take.
The whole Die Hard thing. I mean,
I've never seen Die Hard.
Die Hard's a good movie, and I'm fine with calling it a Christmas movie. Right. But yeah, those people do exist. Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2.
This year we've watched 2 more. I think we've only seen the regular one once, the original, but it seems like every time we turn on Freeform or something, Home Alone 2 is on. So we've probably watched Home Alone 2 5 times in the last 2 weeks.
Great movie.
We just watched the first one from beginning to end for the first time like two days ago, and we also watched the Santa Claus for the first time. Christy was not a Santa Claus. The Santa Claus, she didn't watch it until we started dating. It wasn't what her family grew up with. She was a Christmas Vacation, obviously in Chicago. I would go Home Alone, Elf.
Santa Claus takes place in Chicago too.
Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story.
Say that again. Sorry.
Home Alone, Elf, Grinch, Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Christmas Story.
That's fair. Yeah.
Santa Claus above all five of these.
Yeah. Santa Claus was the one that up until Elf came out. I mean, they both came out, fairly early on in my life, but Santa Claus is the one.
The Grinch came out in 2000.
I know.
That's wild.
We're old.
Yeah. We're like 8 minutes into this and we haven't even said hi. So hi, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm Craig. Thank you for joining episode 84 of No One Asked Us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. We are on the screen, all of our socials in the description, wherever you're listening. We really do appreciate you listening. A nice little Christmas gift for both of us would be a like, and even more so, a subscribe. Thank you. That's all. We'll see you next time. No, kidding. Basketball, a lot of Illini basketball here, a couple football things, and some bowl picks. We got a lot of games to pick. We're just going to see what happens. And one baseball thing Logan's probably a little excited about. We'll jump right into it. What day was this? Saturday. Illinois beats Alabama A&M 68-47. We did not do a post game for this one, so we'll get some of our thoughts here. It was a 1-point game with 10:46 left in the game. Matthew Meyer scored 21. He had 15 in the second half. He's the reason that they really pulled ahead in the second half. I think he scored there for a bit. He was the only source of offense. I don't remember. Shannon Jr. had 18, only other Illini in double figures. It was just an ugly game. It was kind of disheartening after coming off the Penn State loss, and Brad Underwood called out the team. Didn't see much leadership, and I feel like it still wasn't there. They were up 16 at half, and then it got down to what did we say, a 1-point game. I think it was a 16-0 run or something like that for the Bulldogs. Just kind of lifeless. The team just kind of looks a little bit lifeless right now. And I wouldn't go as far as say I'm worried yet. But the next 4 games are very winnable games that I think you need to start finding your groove again before you get into Big Ten play. And I will be honest, I wasn't fully invested in this one. I'm kind of glad we didn't do a post-game show because Saturday was such an excellent day of sports across the board that I had my attention on a lot of different screens. There was the World Cup, there was college basketball, there was college football. NFL had a triple header. Volleyball national championship was Saturday, which Louisville was in. So people down here were really excited about it. So there was just a lot going on, and Illinois playing Alabama A&M just didn't have my full attention. So I kind of sleptwalked through the first half, and then it got to a 1-point game, and I was like, oh, crap. What's going on? And then in our group chat, I just kind of said, this holiday season, I am so thankful for Matthew Meyer because the last 2 weeks, he has been a lifesaver. for this program. And then we got to the post game, and there was some things said. But first, before we get to that, we'll just recap the game. What did you think? I know we didn't do a post game. You weren't available really. So I don't know how much you watched, or did you watch highlights or just check out a box score?
I did not watch this game live. I saw probably the first 10 minutes, kind of half paying attention, and then I was gone. I was out of the house. I wasn't near a TV. I checked the score at halftime, and then I saw the score at the end. Then I got a text from you. I had a text from my dad. So I knew things weren't great, but I wasn't exactly sure what happened because I just saw the final score and saw that it was a 21-point game. And I thought, okay, well, that's what they should have done, probably a little bit more. But little did I know they led by only 1 point with 10 whatever to go in the game. So I did go back and rewatch this game yesterday. So I had the luxury of watching it knowing what the outcome is, so I didn't really stress about it like the rest of the world might have when things seem to be going very poorly for the Illini. It was frustrating. It was frustrating, and I'm so mad at myself because I didn't jot this note down while I was watching it, and now I'm mad that it's this word is slipping my mind. But Trent Meacham, former Illini, who was doing the sideline or the analysis during the game, color commentary. He said a word to describe the game and the play from the Illini, and I cannot remember what word he used, but it was absolutely perfect. And I'm mad at myself for not jotting it down. It was just a poor effort. It was bad. It was bad basketball. The only thing keeping Illinois from losing or even winning by just a few points was, as you said, Matt Myers, 15 points in the second half. That's a really bad Alabama A&M team, a really bad team. There is absolutely no excuse for that performance. And I know we're saying this, they still won by 21 points, but if you're commenting because I'm too negative about a 21-point win, did you watch the game? It would be my response, because it was bad. It was bad. TJ Shannon should have had 40 points in that game.
Yeah.
They did not have a single player who could have come close to containing him. And he didn't seem to want to be there. I don't want to say he didn't want to be there. He just wasn't. I mean, he did score 15 points or whatever. Good for him. Nobody else really did much. Coleman, Hawkins, I can't really tell if he's there or not half the time. The freshman point guards have their moments. They struggled. We saw very minimal minutes from RJ Melendez. He's nursing a sore shoulder. It just wasn't a great effort. It was pretty flat, pretty frustrating. For that to come off what happened against Penn State. I'm with you. I'm not like, sounding any alarms. But you have to at least be a little concerned about the direction this team is trending at this moment. Now, I understand, too, that this tends to happen every year at some point during the non-con schedule, whether it's Mizzou or whether it's those games they played in Cincinnati, or was that in Cincinnati? Whatever it was, Kansas City. They played in Kansas City last year. Like, these moments happen, but it's just there's a lot of talent here. And we've seen this team at times play like one of the best teams in the country. And we have had times see them play down to their much worse opponents. And that's not something you'll want. So not great would be my general response. Not great, Bob.
18 turnovers to 9 assists. 9 assists on 24 made field goals for the Illini. They out-rebounded them 46-33. Illinois shot 42%. Alabama A&M shot 30%. Illinois shot 26% from 3. Alabama A&M shot 17.6% from 3. Free throws continue to be an issue. 13 for 23 from the free throw line for Illinois. Stat sheet-wise, sure, it looks like a 20-point win, but the eye test tells you this was not a 20-point game. Illinois just simply pulled away in the last 8 minutes of the game to make it 20 points. It was much closer than that throughout. As for the post game, Matthew Meyer kind of didn't hold back. He came in, he was the leading scorer. Illinois won the game. And at one point he said, I forgot, what did he say? Said something about how he just feels bad. He's not feeling good. He's not feeling right. He wasn't happy. And Terrence Shannon Jr. made some kind of comment about, damn, we won the game. Like, why is this a sad press conference right now? There is dysfunction in this locker room. Something is going on. The players are saying that that's crazy. There's not anything going on, but they have to say that there is something going on in that locker room. I don't know what it is, but it's to be expected. This is a team that has 7 of the 10 players that are going to contribute are brand new to this program. 2 returning players right now, RJ Melendez and Coleman Hawkins, are the only 2. Coleman Hawkins almost was out of the program over in the offseason. He was really close to entering the transfer portal. He's the only one that came back. He's one that came back that I just don't know what is happening in this locker room to cause this. There is no cohesion right now. And to say that there isn't a problem, to me, is avoiding the problem. I don't know the answer, and I don't know that we'll ever know what's going on, but something's going on. Matthew Meyer kind of called out Brad Underwood in the presser and said, him and Brad are not seeing eye to eye. Matthew has started this new thing where he fasts before games. Underwood, from what Meyer said, that doesn't line up with what Underwood wants. He said something about they're not seeing eye to eye as far as the physical and mental aspects. That, from what I can get out of it, Underwood thinks that some of Meyer's physical things are only mental, and he needs to get over it mentally, where Meyer is just trying to take care of his body because he's been injured quite a bit in his career. There's disconnect. There's disconnect in the locker room that is translating to the floor, I believe. And this is something that I don't think we've seen at Illinois in the Underwood tenure. So
No.
see how they respond from this is, and I hate when talking heads and media people say it like this. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond. I hate it's going to be interesting, but it truly is, because I don't know how they're going to come out of this.
I mean, you bring up a good point, though. We haven't seen something like this in the Underwood tenure, but we also haven't seen a situation where your 2 best players are transfers
right,
who already have 3 or 4 years of experience under their belt. This isn't a situation where your best players are Io DeSumo, Trent Frazier, Kofi Coburn, guys who had been with the program for 3, 4, or 5 years. Your 2 best players you just brought in. This is uncharted grounds for a lot of people, but especially for Brad Underwood and this Illini team. So we just haven't seen this situation before. You have to figure out these relationships and how these things work.
This is the first Brad Underwood Illinois team without Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams, and it is showing.
Yeah. We've already had the
now that we're
leadership
talking it
conversation.
out, that's what I'm taking out of this.
Yeah.
Is that he spent 5 years with Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams, and now he doesn't know who his go-to guy is to get. Brad doesn't know who to go to get his players fired up, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah. No,
because that was Trent. He could go to Trent and say, "Hey, Trent, I'm really not happy with this. Can you talk to the guys?" And he doesn't have anyone that he can do that with now, because Trent and DeMonte and Kofi and Io, they're gone. This is a brand new era of Illinois basketball. Yeah. So does it come back to Brad?
I mean, he's the head coach. So, yeah. I mean, ultimately it's going to be on his shoulders.
Now, Brad downplayed all the Meyer stuff when he was asked about it. He talked about how good of a kid Meyer is and how important
the Meyer
he is.
Thing, I think the Meyer thing is different from the overall feel of the locker room.
That's what concerns me.
To me, the Meyer thing just seems like the two of them don't see eye to eye on how Matt handles his body. And that's not the same thing as overall vibe of locker room.
Yeah.
I don't think that those necessarily, I think there's more to this story that we're not seeing, that we're not hearing. If there are in fact issues in the locker room, I think it is more than just how much Matt Meyer eats before he plays a basketball game. I don't think that is
what's considered fasting, like not eating for
know.
8 hours,
I
10
don't know.
hours.
I don't think I don't personally think that's a great thing, but whatever. If he feels like it's what's best for him.
He's playing well.
Again, there's just a lot of things at play here. Matt Meyer and Terrence Shannon are both players who are here to help get themselves to the next level. I'm not saying they don't want to win. I'm not saying they don't want to win a national championship. I'm not saying they don't want to win a Big Ten championship. But that may not be why they're here. They are both. It might be possible. I'm not saying it is, but it's possible that those two guys are in Champaign because they think Champaign can help take them to the next level. And that might be their concern and priority number one. Not saying it is, saying they might be. Yeah. And if it was, it wouldn't shock me. I don't think. I think this team has a bunch of betas. I don't know if there's an alpha. I just don't think there is. We might see it at some point. Somebody step up. I mean, at times, on the play results, we've seen it from Shannon or Meyer or Coleman or whatever in terms of the stats they put up. But this is what you're running into. Your three best players have never played together. Your two best players are transfers who have years of experience under their belt playing for somebody else. Yeah. It's a different situation.
I want to see him get out and go more. The first 6 games of the year, we were all about this coordinated chaos and all this craziness. I feel like they've really reeled that in, and it's not that. I want to get back to that.
I agree.
Like, when you get other teams out of control, that's where this team is going to thrive. In the fast break now, you need to control yourself a little bit more, because when they have sped up, the rare times they have this last 2 weeks, they've had more charges called on them than anyone in the country. But I want to see some get out and go. Hopefully we do in the next couple weeks, because I don't think the way they're playing now gets them to a top 4 seed and a double bye in the Big Ten tournament later in the season. One thing did change on the court. Underwood did make a starting lineup change. I believe it was injury related. RJ had some shoulder soreness. He did play. RJ Melendez did play, but I think he re-aggravated it or hurt it a little bit more. But Jaden Epps did start the game for RJ Melendez. I was kind of given a heads up on that, and I was like, okay, I love it. But then when I heard the injury thing, I think it was more so, RJ's hurt. Let's just load management him, and let's start Jaden, as opposed to a permanent change coming. But didn't really work. Nothing really changed.
I don't really personally. I don't think the lineup needs to be messed with.
No, I don't either.
I kind of like the rotation they have going. I like having Jaden come off the bench. I don't love that you only really have 2 freshman point guards, and I don't think they should both be on the floor all the time at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think by putting Jaden in the starting lineup, you're putting the two of them on the floor a lot more together a lot more. I think that was injury related. Although I was surprised when I actually looked at the stats to see he did play like 14 minutes, which is more than I thought. Speaking about Melendez, I think that was just an injury thing. Be my guess. Yep. I don't know that we'll see that going forward, but I don't know.
I agree. Next up is bragging rights. It is Thursday night in St. Louis, 8:00 Central, 9:00 Eastern. It is on SEC Network. For those in the Midwest, I don't know that you guys get that. Is that in the normal TV package in the Midwest?
I don't know. I know it's on DirecTV, but I don't know if it's on like Comcast or other things like that. I have no idea.
Mizzou is 10-1. They were 10-0 before last week. Or they were 9-0. 64th in the net. Their best 2 wins are Wichita State and UCF from Saturday, where I believe UCF, or they had a big lead. UCF came back to take the lead, and then Mizzou hit a buzzer beater, 3 at the legitimately buzzer beater at the buzzer to win. Their loss was to Kansas on the 10th, and they got the doors blown off, 95-67. I think they're about that in KenPom too, right? I think they're about 60 something in KenPom.
That's a good question.
59 in KenPom.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Illinois definitely by metrics and by resume is the better team, but it is the bragging rights game. KenPom has it as an 82-77 Illinois win. So the line will probably be about 4.5 or 5. I think Illinois, as that line says, it's a better team, but it's bragging rights. And the last couple seasons, I guess last year Illinois did win it, right?
Yeah, but the best team
last year
traditionally doesn't always win this game.
Exactly. That's my point.
That just happens a lot. Yeah, Illinois is the more talented team. And I don't think that's really saying a lot. Yes, Mizzou is, as we said, 10-1. But they don't exactly have the most impressive schedule. Those 2 wins that you just mentioned are both only quad 2 wins. They don't have a single quad 1 win. Not saying they're not a good team. They haven't really played anybody other than Kansas, who beat them by quite a bit. So
you know what you're telling me? Do you know what that means?
Illinois is going to lose.
Yep, Missouri's going to win.
Yeah, for sure.
Pop quiz. Can you name one Missouri player without looking?
No. No, I can't.
They do have a new coach. Dennis Gates is their new coach. They fired Konzo last year. Dennis Gates came from Cleveland State. I watched one of their games earlier. It might have been the Kansas game. And they said that he brought 4 or 5 Cleveland State players with him from Cleveland State. I don't know who those guys are. The one player looking at their roster that I remember from previous Mizzou teams is Kobe Brown. He's been there for 3 or 4 years. He's a senior. And Isaiah Mosley, you should know the Isaiah Mosley name, but I know you don't watch a ton of SIU, but Isaiah Mosley came from Missouri State, where he was a great MVC player. He is now at Mizzou. Don't know any of the other guys. Those are the only 2 names that I know on that roster. So should be decent. I thought about going because my Christmas break starts Friday. We get off early Thursday, so I thought about driving all the way through to St. Louis before I go home. But
be careful.
Yeah, don't think it's going to happen. I went to like 7 straight bragging rights games before COVID hit, but I haven't been back since. But anything else around the Big Ten? We don't have anything written down.
No, I didn't put anything. I honestly hadn't even got to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's kind of losing right now. It's kind of been. Big Ten is not looking very solid in like the top 25, which we'll talk about here in a second, other than the number 1 team in the country, who I still think might be a fraud. But yeah, I mean, everybody's just kind of beating up on each other, and we're not even to the heart of the Big Ten conference schedule yet. So
Purdue hasn't lost. Ohio State lost a hell of a game. Ohio State UNC was a fantastic game on Saturday. Ohio State lost that one in overtime. Who did Indiana just lose to big? Was it an ACC school? Indiana just lost.
I just watched this game too, and I can't remember who it was.
It was on Fox. It was a Fox game. Kansas. They lost to Kansas. 84-62.
Yeah, they got smoked
at Fog Allen. They've lost 2 in a row now. Neutral court to Arizona and at Kansas. So Indiana's falling. The guys on field of 68 I was listening to. And I think Jeff Goodman might be a loyal listener to No One Asked Us, because he was repeating everything Logan said about Indiana in the preseason. That this team is the same team from last year that had to squeak into the tournament with a couple freshmen, but they still have no one that can shoot the ball. That's exactly what he said. I was listening. I was
like, not rocket science.
He must be watching. He must be watching No One Asked Us.
Happy to have you, Jeff.
Anyone else in the Big Ten do anything crazy? I don't think so.
I don't know. You want me to look at the scores? I can probably do that.
I'm just trying to remember by looking at teams here. Rutgers had a big win, I think, but nothing is sticking out to me. Michigan had to survive Lipscomb. Northwestern blew the doors off of DePaul.
Maryland lost at home to UCLA. Did you mention that?
Oh, that was another blowout.
87-60. They got blown
Yeah,
out at home.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was on Wednesday.
yeah.
And then let's see where we're at here. Saturday, Purdue only beat Davidson by 8 in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
You talked about Carolina and UNC, or in Ohio State, you talked about Kansas, Indiana, Rutgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All right.
basically
Yep.
the heart of it. So
It's kind of it's a down year for the Big Ten right now, but that tells me that there might be some postseason success when we least likely expect it. Because normally there's a Big Ten favorite and they stumble. So maybe this year there's not going to be a top
well,
3 seed and then they go deep. So
there is a Big Ten team currently the number 1 team in the country.
yeah, but I think that, like you said, that's fraud. Speaking of Purdue, number 1 in the AP poll, second straight week, I believe, but UConn is closing. I know we're not a Big East podcast here, but I was looking at UConn on KenPom. The best team they have left on their schedule, according to KenPom, Marquette at 29. They have Marquette at 29, Xavier at 30, Creighton's 31, but then Villanova's 55, Georgetown's 173, Providence is 69, St. John's is 51, Butler's 77. Could they run the table?
I mean, it's very possible. I
They'll
don't
lose
think
one
they
or two,
won't.
but
They won't, but it's possible. I mean, yeah, the Big East isn't particularly strong this year, I don't think.
I'm
Villanova's
buying UConn though. I think they're
definitely having a down year. Creighton has struggled a little bit more than I think people thought they might.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. UConn's 2, Virginia 6, Texas 7, UCLA 13. So those are 3 quality games on Illinois' schedule. 2 of the 3 are wins. Wisconsin 17, Indiana 18, the other 2 Big Ten teams in the rankings. Illinois 16. I don't think I mentioned that. Illinois 16 up to, and then Maryland, Ohio State, Iowa, Michigan State are all receiving votes. So that's where we're at with the polls. Illinois currently 28th in the net rankings. Anything else?
No, I want to see a win on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean,
this team, if they play like they have the last 2 days, will not win another game this year, other than maybe against Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
That's about it. If they play like this,
Minnesota too
might be the only other game they win. But I would love to see them beat Mizzou for a lot of reasons.
This part of the schedule is not the hardest part of the schedule. Like, this is where you need to string wins together. Looking at KenPom, if you go game by game, KenPom has Illinois winning the next 9 games. And then the loss they have is at Wisconsin, which Illinois has won there before, and then Nebraska. So legitimately could win 11 games in a row here. Well, is it going to happen? Probably not, because Michigan State is in there. Indiana is in there. So it's probably not going to happen. But the next 4 specifically, you need to win. Missouri, Bethune-Cookman, Northwestern, Wisconsin.
One more point I will make. I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I know you also have to factor in the 2 losses that they already have in Big Ten play. But it's very possible they get out of that rigorous non-conference schedule with only 1 loss. And I think that would be something worth applauding.
Yeah,
if they beat Mizzou, which they should, they will be favored and they are the better team. And they beat both these non-conference games they have left. At that point, Virginia is the only non-conference loss. Yeah. Which, when you also play UCLA, you also play Texas. That's something. That's something. But they got to be playing better than what they've done the last week, because that's just inexcusable. All right, move on.
Can we take a second to acknowledge the 10-2 women's basketball squad at Illinois?
Yes.
They started off bragging rights week Sunday with a win in Columbia over Missouri. I believe it was like a 12-point win. I don't have the schedule up in front of me. And that was without, I believe, their leading scorer, Makira Cook.
10-point game, 76-66.
Makira Cook did not travel with the team. The broadcast said she was sick, non-COVID related illness. She did not travel. and Illinois still got a 10-point win. They're 10-2, 1-1 in the Big Ten. 3-game win streak. They've beaten Rutgers, Butler, and Missouri. That's coming off of a 4-point loss to number 5 Indiana. And prior to that was a win against a Power 5 team, Pitt, by 21 in Pittsburgh. This team's balling.
Quite a run, man.
Some great basketball.
Quite a run.
I was sitting there last night on an NFL Sunday with Red Zone going on. And what had my big TV? Illinois, Missouri women's basketball on SEC Network had the big screen treatment. They're fun. If you haven't watched, they're fun. They shoot the three and they shoot it well. It is, if you've watched any of the last 5 years of Nancy Faye, it is like they've took 20 steps in the future in one season, because it is a completely different style of basketball. Now, will they win the Big Ten? Will they even be above 500 in the Big Ten? I don't know that they can make that leap, but I think they're at least going to be competitive. And in that program, that is what they need, because they have not been competitive since Ballant's first year in 2012, 2013. They haven't made the tournament since 2003, I think. If you get a chance, I know a lot of their games are going to be on the Big Ten Plus, BTN Plus, so you got to pay for it. But if you get a chance to catch any of them, watch. I've watched 2 or 3 games now, and they're a lot more fun to watch and a lot better than they have been. So give them a chance. If you can, go to the games. But shout out, because 10-2, first time they've won 10 games before Christmas since 2007. I think I saw them tweet out. So
have you seen, do you know where they are in the net ranking?
I thought they said they were like 30 something last night.
They're 27 now.
27, same as the men. Men are 28. Yeah, it's how do they do quads and everything? Any good wins?
They're 3-1, 3-1, or no, I'm not looking at the right thing. No, I don't see that on here.
Okay,
so apparently not. But either way,
they're at home. Still. They're at home Wednesday. It's a noon game Central, so it's like for the kids. Probably be a lot of kids there against Florida Atlantic to try and go 11-2, and then they're into Big Ten play, which I don't know a ton about Big Ten women's basketball, but I think the goal should maybe be a 500 Big Ten season, and that's a huge step forward for Shauna Green in her first year. That's it's big. Like, I don't, they were so bad. Like, we had to go shoot highlights, and I dreaded it. Well, I liked it because it was easy. Like, we got to actually sit in chairs and pick out where we shot the highlights from. So it was easy, but the highlights were always like terrible. So props to Shauna Green. I hope she can get it turned around, because from being in Louisville and watching their women's program, women's basketball is fun to watch when it's good. It's just as good as the men.
I've said that for years.
Yeah.
I've said that for years. When it is fun, it is just as, when they're good, it's just as fun. But I've seen a lot of bad women's basketball, and that's not a diss towards women's basketball. That's just a diss towards the teams that I was more or less forced to watch, and it's been bad.
Yeah, so give the women a shot. They're playing well. They deserve it. Shauna Green's doing a great job. So give them some support if you're in the Champaign area. Moving from the basketball court to the football field, Illinois is
that's the gridiron, Craig. The gridiron.
Football field, same thing. Gridiron. Illinois has a new defense coordinator. Ryan Walters has
buried the lead there, Craig. You buried the lead.
I was trying to think of something, but yeah, whatever. Ryan Walters is the head coach at Purdue, which I alluded to last week. It makes sense. It does make sense for him. I was told he was a finalist for Colorado, which I don't think comes as a surprise. And then Colorado took their swing through their Hail Mary to Deion Sanders, and he took that job. So Walters is at Purdue. He takes Kevin Kane with him, the assistant to the head coach or something like that for Brett Bielema, and linebackers coach. He takes him as his defensive coordinator, and Brett Bielema bumps up Aaron Henry, defensive backs, safeties, cornerbacks coach. I think he was cornerbacks coach, to defensive coordinator. What do you think?
Well, yeah, you alluded to it last week, and I tried to talk you out of it. I didn't think it was going to happen, and hours later, it did. So
yeah, right.
Kudos to you. Happy for him. Happy for Ryan Walters. It was inevitable. At some point, he was going to leave for a head coaching job. You hate that it's for Purdue, which is literally as close to Champaign as you can get, while having a Power 5 job, a team that you're going to see likely every year.
You will see every year.
So, yeah, whatever they do, but there will be a new schedule at some point. So, new divisions, whatever.
When divisions go away, I got you.
Yeah. Regardless, but you also we're going to feel a little more disheartened if he left for another coordinator job.
I don't think that was ever going to happen.
No, I don't either. But either way, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. It was inevitable. If it didn't happen this year, it was going to happen next year. The Kevin Kane thing was a little surprising, I think, because I think many thought he was the front runner to take over the Illinois job, defensive coordinator position. Obviously that I'm not sure what happened there. If Ryan Walters got to Kane before Bielema did, or Bielema wanted Henry to begin with, whatever the case is. Good for all parties involved. I love that Aaron Henry's sticking around. Clearly Bielema sees something in him. He's never been a play caller, so you have to know that is a factor here. Something to consider. But all things considered, I think it's a win for everybody. If you ask me.
A couple things. Do you want to start with Walters or with Henry/Kane?
Start with Walters.
There's only one job that would have been worse for him to take.
Northwestern?
Wisconsin. Of the ones that are that were
open. Yeah.
This hurts just about as much as it could as far as where he ended up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think most Illini fans are now going to, I wouldn't necessarily say root for Purdue 164 days out of the year. But I definitely think Walters won over a lot of people. Even though he's at Purdue, I think he won over a lot of people in Champaign.
Yeah.
And I think we want him to succeed because he's the first assistant coach for Illinois to move on to a head coaching role in more than a decade. I think it was actually Mike Loxley who left to go to it was West Coast. I don't remember where.
Yeah,
but it was like 06 or something. I don't think Walters was leaving for another coordinator job unless it was like an Alabama or a Texas or a Georgia or something like that. I think it was always head coach was his next stop. I thought Colorado would make the most sense, but Purdue hurts a little bit just because you're going to see him every single year. Now, if he would have gone to like Michigan State or Rutgers, okay, that's fine because that's Eastern. That's the Big Ten East, but Big Ten West, that stings a little bit. The West got a lot more competitive with Luke Fickell, Matt Rule,
I don't think
Ryan
the divisions
Walters.
will be a thing after this year.
You think next year they go no divisions?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think every league's going to no divisions.
Starting in 2023.
2024.
Okay, so
when the West Coast schools, one more year, yeah.
Gotcha.
But I think when UCLA and USC join the fold, then I think they'll go no divisions, personally. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But they could also still be one of those situations where there's 3 guaranteed games, and Purdue could still be one of the games that Illinois sees.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure for Illinois, it would be Purdue, Indiana, and Northwestern. Maybe Iowa instead of something like that. The other thing with Walters, his first order of business was freaking awesome. And I think made everyone love him even more. He walked into the team meeting room at Purdue. The team was there. And before he even said, "Hi, I'm Ryan Walters, your new head coach," he was like, "Where's Devon?" Devon Maccabee, the running back that's 80 yards away from a 1,000-yard rushing season. And Walters was like, I played against you guys. And when they told me you was a walk-on, I was like, what are they doing over there? I'm pulling rank and you're on scholarship. I mean,
verbatim.
Craig,
verbatim. Just like you didn't even miss a beat. You clearly have watched that thing as many times as I have.
I watched it two times, one or two times, I think. Yeah, I mean, awesome moment. I love always a sucker for the scholarship announcements for guys for walk-ons and stuff like that. So good moment for Walters to start. I think he's going to do really well. I do. So good for him. What was the other thing? The Kane and Henry. I think it came down to higher ceiling.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think Bielema sees a higher ceiling with Aaron Henry than he did with Kevin Kane. Kevin Kane had a higher floor probably, but a lower ceiling, and Henry has a lower floor and a higher ceiling. So
Yeah.
that's what I think it came down to. I was alerted to Walters leaving before it was announced, and I was told, not told, it was suggested that Henry could follow Walters, and Kane would have been DC. But I'm more happy with the way it played out. I like the Henry promotion over the Kane promotion because of that. And I think recruiting wise, now
There you go.
the defensive coordinator does not hit the road as much as the assistants in the position, so Henry will not recruit as much. But I think having him, he's a younger guy. He connects. He's like the Corey Patterson on the defense. He connects with the guys and has fun and has those catchphrases and stuff like that. So I think Illinois won this as close as it was. I think Illinois came out pretty good from Walters leaving because Kane's the only one that left the staff. No one else left. Walters and Kevin Kane, which I also saw showed Walters told Bielema that he would not poach his assistants because Walters respects Bielema. So that's where that stands.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense. I think the recruiting thing plays a factor here. I think as far as Bielema is concerned, yes. I mean, Aaron Henry won't be out on the road as much now, but I think that he's probably built relationships with people.
Yep.
And I think he's, as you talked about, I think he's just a guy that is more of an electric personality. I mean, we've seen him, even involved with basketball players. I mean, he's kind of been, just a popular name around that campus. So I think to keep him, you knew you were leaving. You knew at some point you were losing Ryan Walters, whether it was this year or next year. You knew that was happening. So knowing that, I think keeping Aaron Henry, even if it means promoting him to a position that he may or may not be ready for yet, I think that was probably the right move because I think Bielema can still handle a lot of it. And Henry will learn. He's, he was doing a lot with Walters. So he'll be fine. And I think Illinois is in good shape. And I think it worked out for everybody involved.
Other football things. Other reporters are reporting some transfer quarterback stuff. We're not in the business here to share other people's insider stuff. But there is some movement in the quarterback market. But we're not going to get in specifics. I was told specifically from someone that DeVito's waiver got denied, so he will not be back. So it is going to be a transfer coming in, and it sounds like there is some movement there, and hopefully that news comes soon because the sooner the better. That they can get the quarterback on campus and inside the offense, but expect something pretty soon, I would say. Other football news: Devon Witherspoon and Sidney Brown are opting out of the ReliaQuest Bowl and turning pro. Zero surprise. Zero surprise. As I tweeted, they're two of what I expect to be a couple more. I would expect Chase Brown to opt out. I don't know what more he could show in a bowl game. It's only might hurt his stock. I would expect him to opt out and go pro. I think Palczewski might, because I think he's got some draft prospects and he's been injury prone already in his career. So I think he might, and we might see a defensive lineman or two. Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph could very well opt out and go pro as well. Will they? I have no idea. Have I been told anything on this? No, this is all just me guessing and assuming who might do this. But those are a couple that I would expect to. Chase, I think I'm 80% sure Chase Brown's going to opt out. Don't you think?
Yeah. I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate and it's happening more and more. I think these bowl games are fun for fans, fun
I mean,
to
let's
say
just
we
face
play in a
it.
bowl game, but like, what's the point? What are
Let's
we
face
playing
it.
for?
The bowl games are not for this season. They're for next season's team.
Yeah.
That's what they are. The
Which,
practices are for the underclassmen to get more
right.
practices in, and for the people that you want to keep on your roster and not hit the transfer portal. It's your chance to get them in a game and say, "Hey, we plan on using you next year.
Right.
You're gonna take this starting role in the bowl game because we want you here next year." I
Which
mean, bowl games are for next year's team.
they did make a move this week, something they should have done 3 years ago, that they are waiving red shirts for bowl
Yes,
games now. So any
yes.
player that was redshirting in that particular season is eligible to play in the postseason. Because as you said, they're essentially just, you know, I don't know, they're not scrimmages, but they're games to get you ready for the next season. That's pretty much all they are. So
Yep.
some players will use them as an opportunity to increase their draft stock, but most players that are draft bound anymore are opting out of these games.
Prime example is the Redbox Bowl in, what was it, 2019? Was it before COVID hit?
Yes.
Yeah. Redbox Bowl in 2019. That was the first time Isaiah Williams played wide receiver.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's when you do this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a good point with the red shirt. The red shirt rule is you can play in 4 games and still red shirt. The waiver is you can play in 4 games plus the bowl game. So those guys that have already played in the bowl games, basically the bowl game doesn't count towards your red shirt count, which I think is good. Anything else football, Big Ten football or Illinois football?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Other college football, we alluded to it last week as well, and it did come out later that night or overnight that Mike Leach has passed away from complications from a heart. I believe it was heart. Wasn't it a heart attack? Yeah, massive heart attack. Was not able to recover. He was 61. I think we kind of said everything about him last week. He was a pioneer, an icon in the coaching world. I don't know that it's officially a petition, but I think I saw somewhere that you have to win 60% of your games to be eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame, and he won 59.45% or something like that, which is like right there. So they're trying to get him into the College Football Hall of Fame. Just a sad loss for the college football world. Illinois obviously does play his team in the ReliaQuest Bowl. They've already made their hire. They hired their defensive coordinator. His name escapes me. Zach Arnett, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, Zach Arnett as their head coach. This is a moment for Mississippi State football, and I think it's a moment that they might it can go one of two ways. I think they can come out and just not be competitive because they've been through so much against Illinois, or they could come out absolutely fired up, guns blazing, and come out and blow the doors off Illinois. So I can see it going either way, but just a sad time in Starkville for the college football world.
Yeah, I mean the college football world in general too. I mean it's incredibly sad. He was such an electric personality. Those players, everybody that played for him loved him. It's sad. It's sad. I'm not gonna sit here and try to predict the bowl game, but I'm not optimistic as far as Illinois is concerned. But just really sad day for college football fans all around.
Yeah. We did do pick your pick last week. Logan went 3-3. I went 4-2. So he's 45-33 on the year. I'm 44-34. We got a lot of games to pick this week. First up is this Thursday, the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. It is Wake Forest and Missouri. How we're going to do this, we're not really sure when our next show is going to come out. So we're picking the games that have Power 5 versus Power 5. Every single one of these games are Power 5 versus Power 5. We're both going to pick them. Not much analysis. Just get some picks. We did do a Bowl Mania contest, but there's like 2 of you guys in it. So it's basically me and Logan. But whatever. Who cares? We're having fun. Thanks for joining us. Go for
it. Wake Forest. I never picked Mizzou for anything.
No. Wake Forest all the way. And then next Tuesday, so the 27th, is when this one is. It's the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Wisconsin versus Oklahoma State. I believe this is in Phoenix.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
Okay, I'm going to take Wisconsin.
Okay,
I'm going to take
great.
Wisconsin. I guess both are without their quarterback because Graham Mertz and Spencer Saunders both entered the portal. So
Yep.
I'll take the Big Ten. The following day, Wednesday the 28th, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Kansas versus Arkansas for the right to keep Kansas in their state title in the name of their state.
Oh, what a line. Arkansas.
Yeah. Kansas has faded hard. Weren't they 5-0? They finished 6-6. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Oregon, number 15 in the country, versus North Carolina. Yeah. Logan's holding up the O. Yeah.
Ducks.
Another team that faded, North Carolina. Weren't they 9-1? Did they lose?
Ducks fly together. Something like that, yeah.
I think they were like 10th in the country, and now they're unranked heading into their bowl game. Also on Wednesday the 28th, Tax Act Texas Bowl, Texas Tech versus Ole Miss. Rebs or Raiders? Red Raiders? Running Rebels, Red Raiders.
Rebs and Raiders. Rebs. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss.
I agree. I agree with you there. Ole Miss for me as well. Bad Boy Mower Pinstripe Bowl. These bowls are on Thursday the 29th. Syracuse or Minnesota?
Gophers.
Same. Gophers. Syracuse was 6-0, I believe.
A lot of analysis
7-5.
here. A lot of analysis here.
I mean, I don't think Syracuse was ever that good. Same with Kansas. No. They were never that good. So it's like, what is it? Not cream rises to the top, but whatever. Whatever. Cheez-It Bowl. Oklahoma versus
Water
number 13.
finds its level.
That's it. Water finds its level. That's the one. Cheez-It Bowl. Oklahoma versus number 13, Florida State.
Florida State.
This one could be a blowout.
It could be. Oklahoma not their year.
I did a confidence pick on Bowl Mania as well, and I think this was like 40. I had a lot of points on this one. Florida State. Valero Alamo Bowl, number 20, Texas, number 12, Washington. Our first like really good bowl game, I think, right here.
Yeah, I really like Washington. I think they've had a really good year. They've really kind of surprised a lot of people. But I'm taking Texas.
You do that a lot. You're really confident in Texas, I feel like. Or you pick Texas a lot.
Do I?
Texas and Baylor.
I love Matthew Baylor McConaughey.
All right. I will take Washington for that fact. If you would take Washington, I was going to take Texas, but I'm going to take Washington. Their quarterback is coming back next year, so he's actually playing in this, and I think he's going to sling it around. Quinn Ewers is also playing, but I like Washington. Former Saluki, Kalen DeBauer, head coach, former Saluki assistant. Friday the 30th, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. The winning coach gets mayonnaise dumped on their head. Is it going to be Mike Locksley or I don't know who NC State's coach is? Dave? No, it's not Dave Doran. It might be Dave Doran. Number 23, NC State or Maryland.
I'm going with NC State, but I do want to point out that the belt is still with Washington. So
I thought about the belt the other day.
We haven't really talked about it much because Washington got it and they hadn't really played anybody. But Washington still has the Roosevelt belt, and they will be playing Texas for it.
Oh,
so
it could go to Austin.
All right, moving on. NC State.
I'll take Mike Locksley in Maryland. I'd like to see mayonnaise on top of Mike Locksley's head.
Okay, great.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Pitt and number 18 UCLA.
This is UCLA. This is UCLA all the way. This is another one that isn't.
Is really DTR playing though? Did he opt out?
Don't know.
I know that's the thing with bowls.
I can't keep track.
I can't keep track of who's
playing and who's not. It's
the Gator Bowl, number 21 Notre Dame and number 19 South Carolina. How are people feeling about this one in South Bend, Logan?
I haven't really heard much chatter about it, to be honest.
Right, because it's not a New Year's 6. Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care anymore. They've moved on to a lackluster men's basketball team. I'll take the Irish. I think they've shown that they can beat teams, but they've had some quarterback issues, and they've had I'll take the Irish though.
All right, where are we at here? I'm going to take South Carolina for the fact that you said that they don't really care about it. I don't think Notre Dame cares about anything except New Year's Six bowls. I think South Carolina would love to win this game. I don't think Notre Dame cares. So I'm going to go with the Gamecocks. And the final one on the 30th is our first New Year's Six bowl, the Orange Bowl, and it's orange. Clemson versus Tennessee.
Yeah, I want to pick Tennessee here. They're just not the same team.
Yeah.
Without Hendon Hooker, and they've struggled. Clemson hasn't been particularly strong most of the season, but I'll take Clemson.
Yeah. I'm going to as well. I don't want to keep agreeing. I feel like there's only a couple that we've disagreed on, but Clemson has their quarterback for next year playing Kubelik. They have their running back Shipley, I think, is still in. Tennessee's without Hendon Hooker. They're without Jalen Hyatt, who opted out for the draft. So I'm going to take Clemson as well. Moving on to Saturday, another one, the All-State Sugar Bowl, Alabama and Kansas State.
Alabama.
Yep, they have
Love
no
the
one
Kansas
opt
State
out.
story, but no, Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama's had no one opt out. They're having their entire team, which is rare for Alabama. But I guess normally they're in the playoff, which you normally don't opt out of the playoff. But I expected them to have some opt outs since they're not in the playoff. But
Yep.
New Year's Six, I guess, is enough for them. So Bryce Young playing, Will Anderson playing. Give me Alabama. It's only 6.5. I might take that as well. Take Alabama in the points as well in that one. The Music City Bowl, Iowa 7-5, Kentucky 7-5. This is an exciting one. The over under is 31.
I was going to say, is it exciting, Craig? But I sense your sarcasm. I will take Iowa in this barn burner of a game.
Yeah. Will Levis is out. I think a couple other Kentucky offensive guys are out. I don't know who's opting out from Iowa, but low scoring game. I'll take the Hawkeyes, especially because I can't pick Kentucky because Kentucky freaking sucks at everything. Skipping the playoff semifinals, we're picking those last. So moving to Monday, Illinois, Mississippi State, ReliaQuest Bowl. When's the kick? 11 Central. Is that right? Yep. Noon Eastern,
Yes.
11 Central on ESPN2, Mississippi State versus Illinois.
I have to go Mississippi State. I don't really have a lot of confidence in Illinois winning this game. I would love to see them do it, but there's just not a lot of things going in their favor for this. So I will take Mississippi State.
I'll switch it up. I'll take Illinois. I wasn't going to. One of us needs to. DeVito should play. Again, don't know that Chase Brown will play, but Reggie Love running well. Hopefully Josh McCray gets some carries. I'll take Illinois to win this one. Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, number 16 Tulane versus number 10 USC in Dallas.
USC.
Yep.
USC.
Yep. They're only a 2.5 point favorite. But Tulane does not deserve to be in this game. Hopefully we get a good Caleb Williams and a healthy Caleb Williams, and we can take care of business. Next up, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Can I make a comment here? Why does Cheez-It get the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl and the Cheez-It Bowl?
They're shelling out a lot of money.
Why do they need two bowls? So many Cheez-Its. You got to have two bowls to hold them all. Logan is clapping. You can't hear it on the mic, but Logan's clapping.
Wow. LSU.
Yeah, this could be ugly. Sorry, Ryan Walters. And the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential. I feel like the Rose Bowl sponsorship changes every year. Number 11, Penn State versus number 8, Utah. Big 10, Pac-12.
I'm going to go with Utah. I like Penn State, and I think they deserve some recognition. They've unfortunately just kind of been the third best team in the Big Ten, third best team in their own division. But I have to pick Utah here, I think.
I'm going to take Penn State.
Good for you.
I'm going to take Penn State. And then the playoff. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, or Ohio State and Georgia.
Georgia. I think Ohio State is better than the lackluster performance they showed against Michigan. But I don't think they're better than Georgia. I think Georgia is the clear number one team in the country, and I think they will win that game. Thank you for your time.
I agree. I want Ohio State. I just don't I don't think they can do it. I mean, can they do it? Yeah. I don't think they will do it. So I'm going to take Georgia again, and Heisman candidate Stetson Bennett to lead his team to national championship again. And the other one, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, TCU and Michigan.
I want to see TCU win this game. I want to see their magical season continue on. But I don't think they will. I'm going to pick Michigan. I think that's the smart money. Yeah, got to pick Michigan. Yeah.
Georgia 6.5 point favorite, Michigan 7.5 point favorite. Both touchdown games. Like, those are pretty big lines for semifinals. I hate it.
Your alternative would be what?
I really don't want us to have the same exact national championship picks.
Do you want me to do something different? Would you prefer me take TCU? Here you are caring about the content. I just care about kicking your butt.
You know what?
I'm not going to do.
I'm going to go all Big Ten Craig here. Rewind. Give me Ohio State to beat Georgia and Michigan to beat TCU.
Love it.
Rematch.
Rematch.
So who you got, Georgia or Michigan?
Georgia. I think Georgia.
Okay.
Who you got? Ohio State or Michigan?
Do we want to wait on this one?
Who's winning the who? Huh?
Do we want to wait on this one? Are we going to do another show before the 7th?
Yeah.
We'll just pick the two. I'm going to take Ohio State.
Yeah?
Sneaking in.
The rematch? Rematch of the game?
Yep.
I love it.
Take them. All right. There's all our picks. Appreciate you putting up with that for the entire season. We'll start our basketball pick 'em in a couple weeks. Logan's eyes just got real big. Moving on to baseball.
I need a break.
Cubs got your guy.
Dansby Swanson. Yeah. Cubs got their guy.
Did they though?
You have thoughts?
Oh, I have thoughts.
I feel like you have thoughts.
I have thoughts. You go first though. You're the Cubs fan. You go first.
Okay. My thoughts are a few things. The Cubs needed to improve. The Cubs, they told us, I think I probably talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. They told us that they were going to attempt to compete in 2023. Up until this past Saturday, 2 days ago, I was not sure that was the case. They had let the bigger targets sign elsewhere. Aaron Judge was never really on the table, but they had let Carlos Correa go elsewhere, Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner. I was a little concerned. Dansby Swanson is not the best offensive shortstop that was available to the Cubs in this offseason. He might be the best defensive shortstop that's available to the Cubs. I know you're going to say that they overpaid him, and I don't think that's entirely false. But have you seen the amount of money the teams are giving to shortstops right now?
I have.
It's the nature of where we're at right now. If the Cubs, I don't know what else they were going to do. I don't. It just indicates that they're actually trying. And as a Cubs fan who has been very upset with the direction of things the last few years, it's just good to know that they seem to be interested in competing. This signing alone does not indicate World Series or bust. In fact, I'm not even sure this is a playoff team yet. In fact, it's not a playoff team. Let's just get that out of the way right now. The Cubs roster, as it stands right now, even after the signing of Dansby Swanson, is certainly not a playoff team. But it does indicate that they're trying to do something. Is it the best use of their money? I don't know. And we won't know that for a while. I know you can, probably critique it all you want, but I think when it comes down to it, the Cubs needed to do something. And They needed to find a way to compete. They now have probably the best middle infield in all of baseball. And when you factor in that Cody Bellinger is in center field, defensively, um, you don't think so?
Cardinals have 2 Gold Glovers,
In their middle infield?
Edman and Donovan.
Well, that's fine. Regardless, they're showing they want to compete. And they're going to have to do a lot more than just add him, but I'm fine with it. They need to do more, but I couldn't have been happier on Saturday when I saw that news break, because I was just concerned that they weren't going to do anything. And that was going to suck.
Okay.
Do you have something to say? Do you want to tell me that they overpaid him? I mean, I know they did.
I think he's massively overrated. I think everyone kept talking about the 4 big shortstops. I think it was 3 big shortstops in Dansby Swanson.
I don't totally disagree with you.
Turner got 27, a little more than 27. What do I have here? 27.27 million AAV. Correa got 26.93 million AAV. Bogarts 25.45 AAV. Swanson 25.29 AAV. In 8 seasons, Trey Turner has a 29.7 WAR. Carlos Correa in 8 seasons, 39.5 WAR. Bogarts in 10 seasons, 34.9 WAR. And Swanson in 7 seasons has a 14.5 career WAR. I think he's had... Last season was great. He was a 12th in the MVP voting. He had a decent 2021. His average was down a bit, but he hit 27 home runs. I mean, career average 255 hitter, 20 home runs. Now, WAR doesn't put in a lot of stock in defensive metrics. I get it. I just think he's above. He's in between above average and great shortstop. If there was a level between there, that's where he would be. Now, as a Cubs fan, I get it. Like, you want them to do something. I get it. I get it for the Cubs. I get it for your fans being excited about the front office doing something. I think he's kind of like the Dexter Fowler signing the Cardinals made. Like, I didn't love the signing, probably overpaid for him. He was a little bit older. It didn't work out, but at the time, the Cardinals had to make that move. It could be the same with Wilson Contreras, to be completely honest, for the Cardinals. You know, it's a move the Cardinals needed to make. It's very similar for the Cubs.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I just think he's overrated. I don't think he belonged in the conversation with Turner, Bogarts, and Correa. I think they're a much higher level than Dansby Swanson is.
Well, he didn't get paid as much as those 3.
Average-wise, he did.
For what were those numbers again? Hit me.
Average annual value.
They're like 13 years.
Yes. I like the Swanson contract much better. But signing any player, if signing Mike Trout to a 10-year contract, if the Cardinals signed Mike Trout to a 10-year contract or Shohei Ohtani to a 10-year contract, I would be so upset. There's no need to sign anyone to a 10-year contract.
The Cubs were adamant about not playing in that game. They weren't going to do that. They did not want to do the 10-year contracts. I don't disagree with you. I don't think Dansby Swanson was quite on that level. Defensively, maybe, but offensively, no. He had a really nice year this past year. He's a really good clubhouse guy. He's a good defensive shortstop. He's won a ring. He's an improvement. He is an absolute improvement on this team. I
knew it was going to happen because he's married. His wife plays for the Red Stars.
Right. Yeah. He just married Mallory Pugh, who plays for the Red Stars. So, yeah. If it wasn't this, I don't know what else it was going to be.
Yeah. You have reason to be happy.
There wasn't anything else out there. And again, I'm not saying this is even a playoff team right now, but just the fact that
closer than you were yesterday.
They are already leaps and bounds ahead of where they were yesterday. This means that certain players don't have to see the field on a regular basis.
Okay, Lou, Nick Madrigal.
Well, let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. They still got to do more. They got to add another bat, whether that's a first baseman, a third baseman, a DH, something. Catcher, they still need a catcher. Like there's a lot still to do here, but when you combine the Dansby Swanson signing with Bellinger and Tyone and Stroman from last year and Suzuki, like they have a good something here that they're building. And so yes, did they probably overpay for him? Yeah, probably. But when they decided they weren't going to play the game of 10+ year deals, they had to do something. So
crazy money being thrown around right now. Can you talk about Avatar in 2.5 minutes, or do we need to start a new recording?
No, beautiful film. Beautiful film. It is a Avatar: The Way of Water came out this past weekend. I saw it on Thursday, and the biggest screen that I could possibly get to within not having to drive for 4 hours. Gorgeous film. Just absolutely just as you'd expect, as the first one was. Technical masterpiece. This one is the same. It's long. It is a long movie. But it's worth it. It's good. If you're going to see it, seek out the largest screen you can. It'll be worth your time.
Are you going to rip my head off when I tell you I haven't seen the first one?
No. I mean, it's kind of surprising because, it's made billions and billions and billions of dollars. So I figured everybody on the planet had seen it. But no, the first one it's fine. I mean, I watched it when it came out. I watched it recently when they re-released it into theaters. Prior to that, I'd maybe seen it maybe twice. It came out at a time where I didn't really care that much about movies. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater, but it was fine. It looked like a really good movie. I was, one of the other millions and millions of people that saw the movie and never thought about it again. It has a fantastic ride at Walt Disney World. And this movie it's really good. It's a really good movie. It is long. It is an experience, but it is beautifully done, beautifully shot. So I'm not saying you have to go see it, but it's worth your time, just as an experience. There are some movies that are experiences more so than this is an experience.
Not to end the show on a sad note, but rest in peace to Twitch.
Oh my goodness! Why are you doing
that news hit me hard. If you have anyone that talk to him. Be willing to listen and be a friend, because you never know what someone is going through. That news hit me really hard this week. So rest in peace.
Bringing the mood down.
I know. I just popped in my head. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope you have a good holiday with your family, with your friends. Take some time away from everything going on in the world and enjoy it. For Logan, I'm Craig. See you next time.
Merry Christmas.